Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 10 of What If Naruto Had the Ultimate Nature Bloodline. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, stay in tune for the rest of the what ifs coming your way over Anime King 2, and I also post a brand new episode over on Anime King of What If Naruto Was Told about the Uzumaki clan from the beginning. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy guys. And remember, if you're new, yes, you're not mistaken guys. You did hear that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels: Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off, as the group of 5 made their way, as they enter into the room. The moment they did, all eyes turned towards them, as everyone sent their bloodlust their way. Menma muttered pathetic, as his eyes turned red. Tapping into the power of the Kyuubi, he released a bloodlust that made all of them, or most of them, went quiet. As some of the kids were trembling in fear. But Gaara, Kurosaki, and Yujito felt the power. As Kurosaki had a boy in her team, his name was Hibachi, as he had the ability to control bees. He was there with his another teammate, Akisaki. Yujito was with her team, Samui, and another boy from Kumo, as Naruto felt the eyes on them. As they made their way forward as they stopped in front of the stone team. Kurosaki was running her mouth, but Naruto didn't care about her status or who was the grandfather at all. But she simply smiled. She liked when they act tough. They couldn't do anything in here though. As they went back, they saw a boy talking to the group. It was Kabuto. Something was off about him, but Naruto just couldn't place it. The examiner came in. It was Ibiki. As they went through the first part of the test, Naruto used his ice release to create mirrors to make both him and Menma cheat. So with that, they left the first part as Anko arrived. As they made their way, Anko seen that she was being ignored by Naruto, who was thinking about something. So she threw a kunai, but he tilted his head. It was supposed to scratch his cheek, but he didn't allow it. As she appeared behind him, Naruto took the kunai into her hand as he pointed towards a person that appeared. It was a grass kunoichi with a rather long tongue, giving Anko back her kunai. There was something about her chakra that Menma sensed, as Menma was a more in-depth sensor than Naruto, as he felt there was something off about her chakra that was just irregular. But they made their way as they got their scroll. Meanwhile, Mikoto was talking to Kushina. Mikoto was Kushina's best friend and she confided a lot in her. There was something that the grown-ups hasn't told Naruto yet, because it was just speculations, but they have seen it. Something to do with his eyes and his emotions. Something that they have come to understand about the past leader of the Uzumaki. That Kushina had to dive deeper into the artifacts to find out if it is reality. But Mikoto was there for her and told her that everything would be fine. And she knew that all of them would make it through the exams. They had been all trained and practicing for this fair moment. So with that, back at the exam, as both Menma and Naruto made their way in the forest. As Naruto was talking to Menma about Hinata, he used to like her, well Menma did. As Naruto wondered if he still liked her. As Menma asked him what about him. He's passed enough things to him, but what about him? Lately he's been shutting down himself, and Menma didn't like that at all. As Naruto told him that he was fine, but Menma said he didn't bite one bit. It was then that they were attacked by the grass kunoichi, who started to fight them. She showed off her real appearance, as both Naruto and Menma stood there frozen when they saw her real face. As Naruto was the only one that spoke, asked her, well, him, because it was Orochimaru, what happened about the group that he was a part of, as Orochimaru told him the name Akatsuki, that he was no longer a part of that group. They couldn't handle him anymore. He was here for Naruto. Meanwhile, as it erupted just after Team Samui got their scroll, A massive influx of chakra swallowed the entire area. Many teams in the forest reacted to the sudden output of power because it was dark, as they felt the malice and the hatred in the power. We skip back to Orochimaru, who was embedded into a tree. His left arm was frozen to the tip, and his body was in a mangled state. As he looked up towards the two monsters approaching him, he was surprised, but yet delighted. So yeah guys, that's basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So this begin this new episode. We begin this new episode at Central Compound. At the moment, Kushina was in the attic. She was sitting down in front of her. There was a lot of scrolls. She had one in her hand that she was focusing on, in particular. All of the sensitive documents from Ozu had been brought back, and they had been brought here. Everything was well secured, because only the blood and chakra of Uzumaki could break the seal to enter. And Kushina had went there personally. It took her a while, but she had made her way there, as she was grieving about the loss, the destruction of her clan. But she had Tsunade, and she had Minato to help her, and she went there. Everything was brought back. At the moment, she was trying to find a way to know if something was happening with her baby boy. She knew Naruto, and if something was really going on, he wouldn't say it out loud. He would keep it to himself and try to find a solution. He wouldn't want to bother them. That is just how he is, something that she didn't like most times, because she wanted to be there for him, and she wanted to help him no matter what. But if it was up to him, he wouldn't tell them about it, because he wanted to solve it himself. But there was just some speculations. A long time ago, her grandmother had told her about the eyes, nature eyes, telling her that those eyes, while they grant immense power, after all, the eyes were only awakened 2 times in history. The first person ever had them. Her grandmother used to tell her stories about that man. Amazing power, but yet they took something away from you. She couldn't quite recall what her grandmother said, because back then she was just a kid, and she was oblivious like most kids and ignorant. But she remembered something though. Her grandmother told her that it took something precious away from the user, but yet there was a way to overcome it. But it was so long ago she could not remember, so she was looking for anything, any detail that can help her. That is when she found a journal. It was from one of the guards of the last Uzukage, as the journal was very flat, just a few pages, as it seemed like the man had torn a lot of pages out of it. The moment she opened it, there was notes. There was finances about the clan. There was different buildings, schedules. She flipped through it, not seeing anything important until something caught her eyes. I'm worried. As she narrowed her eyes, the man just started off, I am worried about our leader. His condition is getting worse. He is getting more powerful, but his condition is getting worse. As Kushina saw nothing else, she frowned. Why did this man have to be so vague? As she flipped to the other page, it seemed to have worked. Well, family is always the best thing for Uzumaki. I'm glad that my leader is focusing and becoming the leader that he once was. I'm so happy and delighted. The page was torn, as the sentence was not finished. Kushina clenched her fist. Damn it! What was the man worried about? She didn't understand. She just had to keep on looking. As she started to search more, she had to find something. Meanwhile, in the depths of the forest, as Sasuke was standing there petrified, the malice, the chakra that he just felt was not anything normal. As he looked over at Sesame, even Sesame was afraid. Usually, she was the one to act all tough. But even she was afraid. As Sakura was shivering, the chakra had spread through like a wildfire, and they felt it. The carnage, the wickedness behind it. It petrified them in their step. At the moment they could not move on, as they all sat behind a rock, unsure what to do despite the chakra being nowhere close to them. Meanwhile, that's it, said Inibi to Yujito. It seems I was correct. That boy, he is the 9th Jinjuki host. Well, the both of them. I can feel the chakra is 2 different separate sources. Seems it was sealed inside the both of them. We were right. I've just confirmed it, said Yujito as she looked towards our two teammates. Well, seems we already got something important. The information never speculated that they were Jinjulkis. What do we do now? The guy asked as he turned towards both of his female teammates, as Yujito pondered on what to do. Meanwhile, with Kurasuke, this chakra, it's not normal. As bees, a lot of them was around Hibachi. It's a Biju's chakra. Huh. So one of those brats are a Jinjulki. What do we do, Kurasuke? Asks Akisake. We were sent here to gather information, she said in a rather quiet tone. For now, we find out which one of them is a Jinjulki. And we still have to test the both of them. Mostly Naruto Senju. But the information was right, he does have the eyes. That's one thing we can check off the list. And if he's dangerous, Hibachi said, then we do what we came here to do. The hidden stone must always prevail, said Kurasuke, and I will squash any competition that might rise in the future. Alright, let's go. Meanwhile, Orochimaru wanted to see the limits of their power. He had already taken out the civilian's camera in here. So, for a long distance away, there will be no video footage of this battle going on. Yet Orochimaru was shocked. Because he was a Sani, he never expected a mere genin. Doesn't matter if it was two of them, they were still genins, to make him use his juices to shed his skin. He had to shed his skin once already. Something that a mere genin could push him to that state. It was embarrassing. Orochimaru snarled as he blocked a vicious swipe that almost teared through his throat. The tree that he moved past was obliterated. He didn't put much thought into Menma, but something surprised him. Something that delighted him. Wood style. Porcupine trap, said Menma as he slammed both hands on the ground. The earth under Orochimaru erupted into spikes. Wooden spikes that skewer everything. But once again, Orochimaru was a Sanin and a freak of nature. The man twisted his body at disgusting rates as he banged all of his limbs around all the spikes, twisting at an abnormal rate to not get impaled. It was then that he turned his eyes as he saw Naruto standing there. As Naruto finishes with a handstand and spew hot molten lava from his mouth. The balls of lava came rushing towards his slam into the wood. As the sizzling sound could be heard as he melted everything, the lava blanketed over the wood. Orochimaru burst on the ground. As he appeared behind Naruto, he had to dodge a blade that came towards his face that Menma threw. Menma shot forward as Naruto ducked. Menma stepped on Naruto's back and leaped forward. As he brought his fist down, Orochimaru jumped back. Boom! The earth was obliterated. Seems like you've taken a treat from your grandmother, said Orochimaru with a lick of his lips. Both of them were cloaked in the fox chakra. They had a single tail swirling behind them, but yet they were in perfect control. Orochimaru did not know that they had gone that far, that he had learned how to master the beast chakra already. They were just brats. But I am still a Sanin, Orochimaru said. And you two still haven't shown me anything to make me take an interest in either of you. He was just saying that to rile them up. In fact, they already had shown the interest. If it was the old days, he would have kidnapped them a long time ago and started his experiments. But he wanted to see what those eyes of Naruto can truly do. He didn't feel anyone nearby, so he can have a little fun with them before he was forced to retreat, while taking Naruto, and probably Menma with him as well. Yes, this was a perfect opportunity. People fear Minato too much. The Sand fear Minato. They were afraid to attack the village. His talk with the Kazekage wasn't really pleasant. But he wasn't sure why the man hadn't told Minato about it. That showed that the man still didn't give a damn about the hidden leaf. After all, if he had truly wanted to help Konoha, he would have told him about their talk. But the man refused to get into anything with him because of Minato. Rasa was afraid of Minato because of the man's status. After all, he was the Yellow Flash, known to slaughter armies within minutes. So why would you send an army against him? And not to mention Konoha was still powerful. They had the Uchihas, they had the Hyugas, they had Tsunade of the Sanin, they had Jiraiya rolling around every moment, they had the third, It was difficult to go up against them, and not to mention they had the 9 tails. Orochimaru scowled at that, but his face turned back into a smile. Well then, Naruto-kun, Menma-kun, are you gonna show me what you can do? Naruto looked towards Menma, who nodded. Both boys shot forward without a second thought, as they moved in brilliant speeds that made Orochimaru smile. The both of them came in for a twisting right hook, bringing their legs down, but at the last moment they used their legs to kick off each other, pushing themselves back. They swung around him as they brought their fists down. Orochimaru shifted back as the both of them bounced off the ground and ricocheted forward, coming towards him, their claws extended. They swiped towards him as he ducked. The tree behind him got severed as they brought their foot around. Orochimaru slithered under their kick. As he was behind them, he twists, a brutal kick that slammed into their back. But the both of them poofed away. As Orochimaru looked up, he moved as the ground was sliced right through. A fine trail of wind that teared through the earth like it was nothing but paper. Orochimaru landed as he looked up to see Menma already going through another set of hand sign. Orochimaru watched in fascination as Menma pulled water from the surrounding plants and the air as he combined it, water style, water bullet. The fox tracker seemed to magnify the power as the water bullet was large, tainted red. Orochimaru moved as the thing burst through several trees, obliterating them behind him. Orochimaru slithered forward his legs, turned into the bottom half of a snake, as Naruto burst out of the ground in front of him. He opened his mouth as steam came from his mouth. Orochimaru was forced to flee as he watched the steam turn the trees in front of him into a lump of mess. As that brought a smile to his face. Fast, but not fast enough. As Orochimaru looked down, his eyes went wide when he saw all the rocks around him glowing. As Naruto raised his hand, explosion release. The ground ignited in a massive firework of explosion. As Naruto was able to combine his fire and earth to create explosion, he could send explosive chakra into almost any object around. Perhaps people, but he hadn't tried that. Orochimaru came out of the smoke, looking a bit shoved up, but nothing too bad. As he smiled, I must say, you almost got me there, he said, with a proud smile on his face. I know those eyes of yours are rather unique, but now, I just want them even more. You come here, said Naruto, as he was leaning down, thinking that you're gonna leave with my eyes. Do you really think I'm gonna let you leave with your life? As another tail started to emerge from Naruto, as Orochimaru smiled, things were getting a bit too out of control now. The more of that power Naruto tapped into, the more people might come. Well, I've seen enough. As he looked around and saw Menma over to the corner, I will be taking the both of you, he said. Orochimaru then rocketed forward with a speed that was far past any tunings. He arrived in Naruto's personal space in a second as Naruto twisted and brought his hand up, but Orochimaru slipped underneath it. Orochimaru clenched his fist as he gathered enough chakra. Blam! As he smashed his fist into Naruto's face, enough to rattle Naruto's brain. As Naruto's eyes went wide as he lost consciousness, Orochimaru was about to grab him until he saw the boy's teeth bare angrily. As he clenched his teeth together, Orochimaru was shocked beyond his wildest belief as he saw the boy literally regain consciousness right in front of him, forcing his mind to set back into place. As his eyes snapped back into focus, he opened his mouth as a massive sonic boom exploded from his throat. Orochimaru was caught right up into it. His ears started to bleed inside as he was thrown. As Menma slammed both hands on the ground, a massive wooden arm came out of the ground and reached up. Orochimaru slammed right into the palm. The arm then slapped down into the earth. As Naruto then jumped back as he quickly went through hand sign. His nose was bleeding, even his mouth as a punch was strong, but yet he was fighting through the pain. As Naruto held out his right hand after he finished his hand sign, he then held out his left hand as electricity and water started to mix together, along with wind. Stormily, said Naruto. Violent hurricane. As Naruto created an explosion of nothing but dense lightning that was obliterating the area where the arm was. Water that came down in a massive shower that would crush bones. A wind attack that sliced through the very ground that would tear body parts apart. Orochimaru was being held down by the arm as Orochimaru opened his mouth. A fresh Orochimaru shot out of it as his husk was ripped to shreds. Orochimaru's fingers were glowing blue as he had to stop Naruto by placing a seal over a seal. Collaboration jutsu. Fire wind. Hell's Den, said Minma as he spewed out a massive fireball that was empowered by wind. As a roaring ball of fire charged towards Orochimaru, he was forced to change trajectory, moving back. Scorch release. Heating sun. As several balls of magma, it seems, that were compacted together, but it was scorch release shot towards Orochimaru, who twist and dive as they melted trees. Burned everything. Orochimaru was shocked. He had to shed his skin twice. Two kids. He had to take them now. Whatever they were doing, it was working. They would become too much of a problem in the future. He had to stop them now. So with that, for a brief moment, Orochimaru dropped his restraints. He dropped all of his restraints. After all, he has been holding back to make sure that no one in the vicinity could sense him. But he dropped those restraints as a torrent of chakra came from the man's body. It was like being unlocked. As Orochimaru's speed was no longer natural, the man was a Sani, greater than any Jonins or Anbus, tapping up to Kage's level. And he was ashamed that he would have to do something like this, but it was necessary. As he moved, his speed was far beyond them. They might have been strong for their age, probably above all of the Genins in Konoha, and probably even above the Chonins. But Orochimaru was the Sani as both of them were sent sailing away. Orochimaru released a massive gust that ripped through the air, blowing the both of them away. His first target as he slammed into Minma, tackling him with his shoulder. Orochimaru had cloaked his body to make sure that the negative chakra wouldn't affect him. As to his surprise though, Minma wrapped his foot around his arms. As he held Orochimaru's arm in place, Orochimaru's neck extended to wrap around Minma to pull him off. But Minma performed one-handed seals as branches burst from his sleeve, ready to impale Orochimaru, who had to twist unnatural to get out of the way. He threw Minma slammed face first into a tree. He didn't stop there, as he had to move though as Naruto came crashing from the heavens, destroying the surrounding area. As Naruto lashed out at him, Orochimaru jumped back. He regurgitated his blade as he twisted. The Kusanagi slammed against the ice blade. The Kusanagi severed the ice blade though. As Naruto placed a hand on the ground, ice particles started to spread out from his impact. They emerged into ice spikes, forcing Orochimaru to jump back as he elongated his blade, ripped right through Naruto's shoulder. Orochimaru then yanked it, pulling Naruto with him as he stretched out his arm to grab Naruto. As Naruto's eyes snapped towards him and opened his mouth, Orochimaru screamed in pain as the acidic mist started to melt his fingers, forcing him to pull back his hand. As Orochimaru used his other hand to wrap around Naruto's waist and slammed him face first into a boulder. A wind attack was sent towards him as he simply jumped out of the way and black-handed Minma, who smashed face first into the ground. Orochimaru stood there panting a little bit, as he couldn't believe it. These were just kids. As he looked at his melted fingers, damn it, he cursed. As he saw Naruto getting up. What? Orochimaru cursed as he brought his hand forward and wrapped around Naruto once again. This time he picked up both boys, slamming them into each other. The force causing both of them to lose their cloak. He lifted them in the air. He then bashed them down into the ground, shattering it under their weight. As he slowly pulled them forward, holding each of them by their neck. Minma was out cold. But yet, this stubborn bastard refused to pass out. Orochimaru snarled. "You're truly impressive, Naruto-kun," he said. "I must say, you are incredibly strong for your age. But still, as I said before, I'm a Sani, and you are not yet at that level. And that is something I can't afford to happen." "I'm gonna kill you," said Naruto, as Orochimaru held onto his throat tight. I doubt that will happen anytime soon. Because, from today on, Orochimaru's eyes widened when he saw another Naruto over to the side, as he had a three-pronged kunai in his hand, as he was about to throw it. As Naruto simply smirked, Orochimaru snarled as he dropped them and flee. If Minato arrived, He wouldn't be fast enough to escape with both boys, so the best option was to run. So that is what he did. As Naruto fell face first, so did Menma. The clone over to the side wasn't really a clone as it started to fizzle out, the seal on the ground, becoming inactive. When Naruto was slammed into the boulder, he had placed a seal down, a projection seal that he drew rather quickly, to project something from your brain, an image or something. As he projects something in Orochimaru with fear, his father arriving. As Naruto was bleeding badly from his shoulder, as he felt like his whole body was racking with pain, still he crawled over as he reached, as his hand dropped on Menma's back. As Naruto blinked as he was in his mind escape. What's going on, he says. He looked towards the fox. Give yourself a clap, kid. You managed to outlast Asani enough for him to run away. Given the circumstances, that's quite the feat for someone your age. What's going on, said Naruto. You haven't answered my question. That blade of his, it seemed to be rather poisonous, and right now it's coursing through your veins. But don't worry, I won't allow you to die. As Naruto started to focus, he had to wake up. He had to make sure Menma was okay. Your body is incredibly weak from the poison. If another team find you with the intent to kill, remember, I'm just a seal away. Of course the fox wanted him to use his power. Yes, he wanted Naruto to use enough power so that he could break free. The more angry he got, the more power he tapped into. It has already been shown that the kids could handle some of his power already. Their mind was rather strong. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. Meanwhile, as Naruto woke up, the fox was right as his body felt like it was burning from the inside out. His vision was blurry. As he struggled, Menma was out cold, but he was okay. He just needed somewhere to heal. With trembling legs, Naruto hypes Menma up as he started to walk away. Meanwhile, deep within the forest, there was a hidden base that no one was able to find. One of Orochimaru's base that he was visiting at the moment. Orochimaru was pissed off as he threw many things around, knocking them over in rage, as he couldn't believe that he gave the brats enough time to use that damn kunai. He should have been more focused on checking them before he started the fight. Damn it, he slammed his hand into the wall, cracking the wall under the weight. As he was angry, he had them right in his possession to take what he wanted, but yet he failed. That was pissing him off to no end. He was furious. But there will be another opportunity. Yeah, there will be another one. You can count on it, he thought to himself, with a smile. He will have those eyes, no matter what. Meanwhile, as Naruto felt his body shutting down, he started to go through hand signs at a slow, calm pace, molding his chakra because he could feel it. It wasn't moving naturally as he slammed his hand down. Summoning jutsu, there was a poof as Naruto collapsed face first, but he collapsed right on the body of a smaller lion as he felt his face hit the soft, fluffy fur. As he did, the lion glanced back at him. Naruto-sama. As Naruto smiled, Shiba, I need your help, he said. As the female lion looked over him and Menma, as Naruto picked Menma up and placed him on the back of the lion, which he also got on. Get us somewhere safe. The lion nodded as she moved off rather quickly. Meanwhile, it's gone. Said Sasuke as he no longer feel that presence anymore. Do you think that has anything to do with Naruto and Menma? Asked Sakura. I don't know, said Sesame. But let's go and find them. The group nodded himself as they made their way off. But they were not the only group looking for Naruto and Menma. Time skip, hours later. At the moment, Damien was currently with his group. They had their scrolls as they were about to leave the forest at the moment. Damien was the only member of a prestigious clan in his group, so he thought that he was a boss, ordering the other two around. The girl had short brown hair. Her name was Psycho. And the boy was Hibi. They weren't from any prestigious clan. They were just normal civilian children. And he was the strongest, so he thought he controlled everything. As he came to a stop when his Sharingan spotted something. The undergrowth of the tree over there. There was chakra. As he made his way forward, more chakra than expected, as he had his two totem Sharingan activated. Stepping forward, What's going on? Psycho asks. I don't know, he said. But I'm about to find out. We have our scrolls, we can just leave. The boy said to him, be quiet. If I say we go investigate something, we investigate something. As he made his way forward, who's in there, he said. But there was no reply. Hey, come out here. But still no reply. He pulled out a kunai of the explosive tag as he threw it. You're lost. The thing exploded, breaking apart the disheveled wood style. With Naruto chakra out of flux, he wasn't able to put as much chakra to protect them or make it look as original as possible. That is why when it broke apart, Damien smiled as he saw Naruto inside, already awoken. It's been a couple of hours that he has regained some of his strength, but his body was still in pain. After all, being stabbed by a blade that was covered in poison wasn't a nice thing, although his wound was healed. His shirt still had blood on it. Huh. I guess it's my lucky day, said Damien as he smiled. As the girl looked over at him. They're Konoha ninja. We should help them. No! I know exactly who this bastard is. Look at him. As the girl took a closer look, the only thing she saw was a headband. When she looked close at his face, she saw his face. Because of Damien's Sharingan, he was able to pick out more subtle traits, as he knew who exactly it was. It's him. As she was surprised. Who could be strong enough to put him in that state in here? To make him be hiding? As Naruto crawled out. As he slowly got to his feet. You're looking so good, said Damien. Huh. Guess you got your ass kicked by someone in here. Rather pathetic. I mean, I thought you were at least strong enough to put up a fight. Not the time, said Naruto. Leave. Damien laughed. He looked up to the sky and laughed his ass off. Do you really think you're in any position to give orders around here? You know, at this moment you should be on your knees, begging me, praying to me to leave you. At least with some help. But no. You're always trying to one-up me. Always trying to prove that you're better. Always trying to prove that you're special. But you're not. I'm an Uchiha. I'm the special one, said Damien. As Naruto's eyes became cold. Leave, he said once again. I'm not gonna ask you. Once more. Hey Damien, we should... Shut up! Damien said to both of his teammates. This is the punk think that he can take me. You know what? Give me your scroll. I'm gonna make sure that you don't pass this exam. But Damien, it doesn't matter. He's not gonna pass the exam. I'm gonna show Sesame once and for all that you're a failure. Is that what this is about? You're worrying what Sesame thinks about you. Shut up, you don't know anything, Damien said. As he looked towards Naruto that glare. Now, give me your scroll. Or, he looked past Naruto. Do you want your brother to get hurt? As a hand came out from inside as Menma pulled himself out, as he had regained consciousness. Leave, said Menma. We won't ask again. Huh. Same attitude from the same idiot. You two stay back, said Damien. As Naruto looked towards Menma. I'll end this, he said, as he got to his feet. Damien smirked. In your condition, you really think you can do anything? Look like you've been wounded. I'll give you a swift, merciful defeat. I won't kill you, don't worry about that. I'll just make sure to beat you so bad that you will think twice about challenging me ever again, said Damien. His two them Sharingan flaring. As he flashed you hand sign. Take this, firestyle, Fireball Jutsu! As he released a fireball towards Naruto, who pulled out a kunai of the explosive tag and threw it. It exploded in mid-air, countering Damien's fireball, but some of the flames got through and kept on moving forward, but Naruto was already gone. Damien turned as he saw Naruto standing there. What, running already? He says. He pulled the kunai. He threw it. As Naruto twists and placed his finger right in the hole and caught the kunai, spinning it on his finger as he threw it back. Damien's breath hissed in his throat as kunai sliced his cheek. He looked towards the tree behind where the kunai split through it. What the hell? He wiped away the blood. You're gonna pay for this, he says. He shot forward. He came in with a taijutsu style of the Uchihas that no one could best after all. With a spinning kick, he brought it up towards Naruto's face while bringing his arm down low to grab Naruto by the chest. As it was a quick mover to knock out your opponents. He saw Naruto's left arm shot up. His Sharingan could see it, but his body was just not fast enough to block it. As a fist smashed inside of his face. Damon saw sparkles as he was launched back. He crashed on the ground. He quickly picked himself up, and his nose was sink into his face as a kick broke his nose. More than broke, rearranged his face as Naruto slammed him face first into the dirt. Naruto was pissed off that Orochimaru escaped, so he was letting know that anger. "I told you to leave," said Naruto as he dropped right on Damon's chest as Damon wheezed out in pain. Bam! He slammed his right fist into Damon's face. Second bam! Third bam! As Naruto kept on beating the absolute crap out of Damon. Psycho slowly pulled a kunai as she fell. A kunai at her throat. As the other boy tried to move, but a kunai was at his throat by a clone of Menma. Move and you die. As Naruto was beating the absolute crap out of Damon, his fist was soaked in blood. "Stop," she cried out. "You're gonna kill him. We're all Konoha ninja here. Don't do it." She begged and she pleaded with Naruto. Damon's face was a mess. His eyes were swollen shut. He was coughing up blood. As Naruto had stopped, his face was cloaked in blood, dripping. As he snapped his head towards her, she staggered back, almost getting her throat slit by Menma as she pressed upon the kunai too much, as he had stepped back when she did. She was trembling in fear. As Naruto reached into Damon's pocket and pulled out the scroll, the two of them. "Take it and leave," said Naruto, as Menma released her. Both her and the boy picked up Damon as they ran. They ran for their life. As Menma walked over, "You okay?" "I'm still angry," said Naruto. He escaped. "This won't be the last time," he said. "He's after your eyes and he's after me as well. He will come back, and we will be ready. And we'll kill that son of a bitch," Menma said. As Naruto nodded, as the both of them started to make their way. "Let's go. It's about time we get to the tower." As they started to hop from tree to tree. They had regained enough strength so they could move, but not as fast as they wished. Damon thought that he was strong, because he beat up a couple of low-ranked Genins. But Naruto and Menma were far above Genin level, perhaps even Chunin, not to mention when they tap into the power of the fox. After all, not many can do what they can do. As the both of them kept on moving until a barrage of kunais came towards them as they had to stop, landing on different side of tree branch. "I remember you. You were the one that released that bloodlust in the first exam," a cocky boy said with black hair as he stepped forward, as he had the headband for the hidden stone on it. "Yeah, I remember you quite well," a girl said. She was over to the side as she rang a bell. A bell that sort of messed with Menma and Naruto's senses. But they had been through worse genjutsu. As the both of them cleared their chakra, snapping out of it. The moment they did, a massive ear pressure started to come towards them, forcing the both of them to flee as they landed on the ground. "Hey, why don't you hand over your scroll?" the boy, the stone ninja known as Zaku, said. "Yeah, before this gets rough," said Dosu. "Well, we wouldn't mind getting a bit rough," said Kin. "Trust me, if you do this, either one or all of you are gonna die," said Naruto. His tone was flat, as he looked at them like they weren't even an obstacle in the way. That pissed Zaku off. Two arrogant shit think that they can handle everything that comes their way. It's just two of you and three of us. Do you really think that you can win? As Menma sighed, when would they learn? He was tired of this. Tired of these weaklings standing in their path. He went through hand sign, wood style, as he slammed his hand on the ground. Seemed like with Orochimaru's spikes emerged. As they came out in a wide area, Zaku opened both of his palms. As Naruto saw the hole inside of them, as a massive stone wave clashed with the wood style, but many spikes came out of the ground. As Kin and those who leaped away, Zaku leaped as one of them pierced into his arm. He winced in pain as he fell before he could grab onto the tree branch, clutching his arm in pain. Naruto was not the only one pissed. Zaku looked up as a boot slammed into his face, launching him back towards the ground. As Menma and Naruto attacks were far stronger than what anyone else would use because they knew how to regulate their chakra just like their grandmother. As Damon was lucky that Naruto wasn't using his enhanced fist to punch him because if he did, he would have been dead by the second punch. Zaku slammed into a tree head first as he collapsed. He picked himself up in a groan. His throat was grabbed as he was smashed through the tree by Minma, who grabbed him by the throat once again and lifted him off the ground. As Minma had to dodge, as the era was bombarded with senbons, he threw Zaku as Zaku slammed into Ken. The girl grabbed onto Zaku's body as Minma threw a kunai. She had no choice as she ducked behind Zaku's body, and Zaku was propped up the right way as the kunai pierced right through his chest. His eyes went wide for a brief second as Minma watched as the light left his eyes. Minma was surprised. This was the first time he actually killed someone. He knew that this day would come, but he never actually done it before. He realized he just took someone's life. This happened to anyone out there in the field. Once you kill someone, it took you a moment. And that was a perfect moment that those who need that he shot forward, his gauntlet arm stretching towards Minma, but it was grabbed. He released a sound wave, but to his surprise, the sound wave was countered by Naruto. Blam! As Naruto backhand slammed into his face, with enough pressure to snap his neck because Naruto did not release his arm. Naruto held on to his arm and used enough chakra in his arm to crush a boulder, as his neck snapped like a twig, as he dropped to the ground motionless. As Naruto looked down, he felt absolutely nothing from this guy's death. There was no sadness that he just killed someone for the first time. Nothing. The only thing he felt was concern about Minma. Despite his emotion lacking, he still knew what emotions he was supposed to feel as he saw that Minma froze up there. His mind was telling him to just focus on the task at hand, but Minma was his brother. But it did not disturb him. The girl King started to run for her life as Naruto flashed away. She hit right into him face first as he dropped on the ground. Please, she says. She started to crawl away. Please, don't kill me. As Naruto stepped forward, leaving her enemy behind to get stronger to come back for you another day would be a mistake. Minma stood where he was as he heard the cry of the girl in the forest before it went silent. As Naruto walked over, "Are you okay?" "I killed him," Minma said. "He deserved it," said Naruto. "He was our enemy, and we do not let our enemy live. Come on, let's go. We'll talk about it when we get to the forest." As the both of them started to move, as Minma was looking down, but he was hopping from tree branch to tree branch, until they came to a stop. "Someone's coming," said Minma, as Naruto turned his head. It was more than one group, as it was two groups in fact. "Hey guys!" said Kiba with a smile as he looked over. Sesame, Sasuke, Hinata, Kiba, Shino, and Sakura was there. The two groups had met up in the forest after they got their scroll. "Seems that we found you guys as well. Do you have your scrolls?" Neither boy spoke as Sesame stepped forward. "Are you guys okay?" "Yeah," said Naruto. "Yeah, we have our scrolls," he said. "You guys have yours?" As they all nodded, Hinata looked concerned as she looked over towards Minma. Back then when Mito was alive, Minma used to come by a lot with Mito, and they had fun together. But now he barely talked to her. Something that she didn't like. Naruto talked to her. Whenever the Hyugas came over to speak to the Hokage or the Senju, political matters, anything else, she came along with her sister, and Naruto was the one that talked to her formally. But Minma, he was always so distant. He got distant lately. Naruto wasn't much better because he just talked to her about normal things before walking off. As she wondered, was it something she did? She was just overthinking things because they lost someone precious to them. She lost her best friend, so she shouldn't push it. But she noticed as Minma was out of it as they start to move. She noticed as well. As she stepped forward close to Naruto. "Is he okay?" she asked. As Naruto glanced over towards Minma. "He will be," said Naruto. He would talk to Minma once he got to the tower, but for now, it's best if they leave it be. As Naruto looked around, he could feel it, as he just continued to move. He then stopped for a moment as he placed a hand towards the ground. "What's up?" said Kiba. "Nothing," said Naruto. "Let's go." The moment they were gone, Yujito and her team came out of the bushes. As they stopped, the seal on the ground that Naruto placed down, a delay, chakra seal. It delayed what was inside as there was a poof as a clone emerged. The three members staggered a bit, but they did not falter. "Don't," the clone said as he looked towards the three of them. "Don't what?" said Samuya. She stepped forward. "Yeah," the boy said. "Come after you and your team." As Naruto focused on Yujito, ignoring the other two. "If you do this now, and a death occurs on my side, I will hunt the three of you down and slaughter you, one after another," he said, his tone completely cold as he spoke. The boy was about to say something, but Naruto beat him to it. "It's not a question if I am going to. It's a question that I am. So I suggest you think wisely. All of us has been through a lot today, going for our schools. We are gonna fight again in the exam. You can try to come after and kill me then, or whatever you seem fit to do. But now is not the right time, I assure you. It will just lead into your downfall, all of you," he said, as he poofed away. "Let's go after them," the boy said. Samui said nothing as he looked towards Yujito. "Let them be." "What? Are you afraid?" "Of course not. But he's right. Defeating him in a public view to show them that Kumo is better than every other village is the best thing we can do right now." As she snapped her head around and she heard someone landed. "Fancy seeing you here. That was quite the show. I must ask, are you afraid?" said Kurosaki. The three members of the Cloud looked at the three members of the Stone. As Yujito, none of them said anything. Well, I guess they're right. Showing off in the exam is the right thing to do. Although we didn't get our crack at him here. I'm guessing that you're here for the same thing. Well, not gonna talk. Alright then. I guess we can just part ways here, said Kurosaki. I'm sure you guys wouldn't want to try anything and lose your lives. Yujito said nothing. She didn't fear this girl or her threats. But there was something about that boy and the way he spoke, despite it just being a clone. She didn't fear him, but yet she did not try to go after him. Perhaps this wasn't the right time. As the Stone team walked past them, as Kurosaki simply smirked, they did not engage. They just walked past as they made their way off. As Yujito looked towards the two of them before giving them a nod. With that, they made their way as well, going in a different direction. That was quite risky, Hibachi said. What if they had wanted to fight? Then we would have taken them down. Another team to take down to cement the Stone. In the top place. I don't mind, she said. This attitude of yours is gonna get you hurt one day, said Akisake. That is the way I am, and I'm not gonna change for anyone, she said. But I want to see if they had any fears after that little view from that boy. He was rather stern about hunting them down and killing them if anything happened to his team. Well, I guess we found a weak spot of his. Well, everyone seemed to have that weak spot. Family. It's the best thing. But don't worry. Like they said, we will have him in the exam. In front of everyone, we will show him that the Stone is the best. And if either of us get him as an opponent, you know what to do. With that, they quickly flashed away, making their way off. It was damn time that they get the hell out of here. An hour later, as Naruto was currently sitting on the bed, Menma was sitting there as well. How do you feel, Naruto asks? I just never thought what would happen after I killed someone, Menma said, as he looked towards his hand. He's gone now. His life won't recover or anything like that. He's never coming back. But he was my enemy. And we already made up our mind a long time ago that we will take down our enemies. What about you, Menma said? You stopped that girl from fleeing. You made good on the promise while I froze up. How do you feel? As Naruto looked up in the ceiling. I feel nothing, he said. Nothing towards your death. What? Said Menma. There's something I've not told you, said Naruto. What's that, Minma asked. I've not told anyone really. And I need you to keep this a secret for now. Until I figure out what the hell is going on. You're starting to worry me, said Minma. Huh. There's nothing for you to worry about, said Naruto. Just keep it a secret. Understand? Yeah, what is it, Minma said. Before Naruto could say anything, the door opened up. As Minato walked inside. As Naruto had told one of the ninjas that he needed to speak to the Hokage immediately. It was a matter of security in the village. That got through them rather quickly. Minato heard that they were safe. And he had something to do, so he just quickly finished it up and he made his way here. He was coming here in the first place. As he saw his two boys, he had no doubt that they would pass the exam. But the look on their face troubled him. They looked quite serious. Orochimaru had been clever. He had covered all of his tracks. After all, he didn't want anything slipping. He didn't want anyone knowing that he was here. He had covered all of his tracks. Why do I get that you have some bad news for me, said Minato. Yeah. Orochimaru was here, said Naruto. Minato eyes widened at that. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want the next part, do like, subscribe, comment down below, turn on the bell notifications to stay posted. But I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.